Hello, welcome to the Pedestal Society. My name is Braille. If this is the first time you've been here before, please don't be shy. Say something in the chat. Say hello. Welcome to the page. Thank you. I say space with Kate. Girl, y'all are showering with me with so many comments before I even get started today. I love you all. I love this community, and I'm so happy that you feel this is a great page to tune into. And it feels like this. You're getting advice from your big sister. So, hello. We're going to talk about understanding the feminine principles so you can break them. Let me just make sure we do some housekeeping. I want to make sure that you can hear me and see me on Instagram and YouTube. If I could if someone could drop something down in the chat or the comment section to let me know that you can see and hear me. And then we're going to jump right into the conversation for the day. Hey, Daisy. Hello. So, let me make sure everyone can hear me. Can you hear me on YouTube? Thank you. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me and see me. Hey, Amina. All right. So, first of all, this has been a long time coming because I think that I have been asked so many times about the feminine principles. You all have to understand if a woman wants to animate or feels that she feels strongly about the feminine energy and animating that energy, a lot of times putting rules in front of her is like putting a piece of cake in front of a toddler. Not saying that she's a toddler, I'm just saying that this makes her willing and wanting to break the rules because feminine energy is not about structuring rules, it's all about the body, emotions, and feelings. And so, this is the reason why it's been a long time coming and talking about the feminine principles and understanding those rules so that you can break them. You should not be breaking rules that you do not understand. There's a reason for every rule. There's a reason why these principles stand. And we're going to talk about the 12 principles I'm going to give you today in this conversation. First of all, the number one rule, which you've heard over and over on my page, you've been following me for a while. I've told you that you do not beg for attention from man. If you beg for attention and you don't receive it, it's like being rejected. And women do not care for rejection. It harms your self worth, your confidence, and your self esteem. Now, it's nothing wrong with wanting attention, but a lot of times when I'm getting back from feedback from these conversations I'm having with women is that you are begging for that attention from men. You're not wanting, you want attention, but you don't know how to go about getting it. But it comes out as though you're pleading and begging with the man to give you attention. And this defeats the purpose because it harms your self-worth and your self-esteem and your self-confidence, which we are grounded in body, emotions, and feelings. This can be harmful overall to the woman who animates feminine energy. If she's going into it feeling low value, feeling like she has low self-confidence, feeling like she's not worthy, then she tends to bring in people who aren't worthy and low value masculine principle men and women. So you need to be very careful and keep this principle in mind that you do not beg for attention. But if you want it, there's ways to go about getting what you want without begging. But never beg anyone for attention. That's number one. If you don't mind, let's have someone keep track as we go through these 12 principles I'm going to give you today. So you can do, I want to see it happening on Instagram and YouTube so that when people come in, they can be able to pick up wherever they come in at so they know what principles to start on. So we just did the first principle of the feminine principles is we do not beg for attention from the masculine principle or from anyone. It doesn't feel good to us. So we absolutely do not do anything that's going to put us in a position where we're begging for that attention. The second principle is we do not beg for time. A lot of women are trying to figure out how can they get more of the masculine principles time. Basically, how can I get more of a man's time? Now let's go into let's hone in on that and why it's so important that we don't beg for time. Because hours equal money equals dollars. Since hours equals dollars, they want to make sure that they spend time with you. They will. They'll carve out some time for you that you don't have to beg for it. But what I come across is a lot of women are trying to figure out how do I get more time from the masculine principle? It's okay to want more time, but a lot of times we're putting ourselves in the position of begging for time. So we're begging him to take us out on dates. We're begging him to spend his free time with us. We're begging him to be on the phone with us. We're begging him to text us. And the more that you beg and you receive rejection, the more this harms the woman who animates feminine energy. The more it leads to a woman feeling more uh, low self-worth, low self-esteem, and low self-confidence. Men look at time as equal as dollars. His time is precious. If he wants to spend more time with you, he will. Is there, just because we want it doesn't mean we need to beg for it. So number two is you don't beg for time. If he wants to spend more time with you, he will carve that out. He will make sure it happens. A busy man will still make sure he spends time with you in order to keep the relationship moving forward as the masculine principle. When we go against that rule, we harm ourselves overall. And that's the reason why you don't break certain rules, because these rules can lead to us feeling more like we're low value, like we're low self-esteem, like we don't have self-confidence, like we don't feel good in our bodies, like we lose that connection with body, and the body connection for feminine energy for women who want to animate it, because not everyone is concerned or interested in the feminine principles. Every woman is not going to be the feminine principle. Every woman is not going to desire to be the feminine principle, and that's actually okay with us. We're okay if she doesn't want to animate that energy. We should be more concerned about our energy and our focus and us being self-centered in our lives and grounded in it. So we don't concern ourselves about what other people are doing or how other people are living their lives. You don't really hear me saying anything against other people's lives. I just talk about how I live my life and the things that I believe in. I'm totally self-centered and grounded in my own beliefs, in my own thinking, that I don't have time to look at other people and how they're thinking and how they're living their lives and critiquing how they live their lives. So that's number two. We do not beg for time. A busy man will find the time to spend with you. Number three, we do not beg for sex. Remember, women do not like rejection. And since we have this body connection that's so deep, we have that connection that's so ingrained in us, the women who desire to animate feminine energy, the more that we get rejection, the more it separates from our body, our emotions, and our feelings, and it separates us from our intuition and our being. So we don't like rejection, and we don't desire to put ourselves in situations where we will be rejected. So we do not beg for sex. Now, it's okay to want sex. We are sex as women. We are sex. We are, as women, we are sex. So there's nothing about wrong with wanting it. The thing is, there's a way to go about getting it done without begging for it. There's Men are so sensitive to women, you would be so surprised. It kind of blows my mind a little bit when you think about a woman truly begging for sex, when sex is woman and woman is sex, because men are so sensitive to women in the first place. They're attracted to us in the first place. It shouldn't be get to that level where we have to beg for it. But of course, me doing what I do on social media and having these interactions with clients and people, I've realized that some women are begging. They are in a position where they're begging men to have sex with them. And usually it is married people versus single people. Okay. But you do not beg for sex because men are so sensitive to us for that. You don't want to put yourself in that position that you keep piling on rejection. And the more rejection that you feel, the more disconnected you will begin to feel. And that's the reason why some women are so beat down right now, especially women who are animating feminine energy, and that is their desired principle. They feel beat down because they feel like they've been rejected by the desires, by the men, by the people in their lives, by the things that they want. They feel rejected, and that harms them overall. Yes, there's some things that we can do, and of course, we're going to get there. If you follow me on YouTube, I have a page on YouTube. You don't know the women that follow me on Instagram. I have a page on YouTube. We address all these things. Number four, I want to keep to the numbers because those numbers are important. Number four, the feminine principle is feeling based. No matter what is happening in life, never lose the ability to feel your body and check in with your emotional state. There's so many women that things have happened to them, and a lot of it has been out of their control, that it has beat them down to the point that they have no connection with their body. they're not grounded in their intuition. So they have that, there's a deep disconnection within them to the point that they're even questioning if intuition even exists. So you want to kind of make sure you continue to do those check-ins to make sure that you understand your emotional state and you understand that body and mind connection, that you're really grounded in it, so that you'll have that GPS to give you the direction of where you're supposed to go, where you're not supposed to go. That's highly important to women who are determined to animate the feminine energy. They feel more strongly, more grounded, more safe in feminine energy. So that is your desired feminine principle. So you always want to make sure you take the time. This is the reason why every single morning I take an hour out of my day just to do that check-in, just to check in with my emotional state to see what's happening on the inside, because we can get so distracted by what's happening out here. Like you see the economy, you see people are hurting, you see the gender work happen, you see all these things are happening. You never want to get so disconnected from your body that you cannot feel, that you don't have your intuition, that you're not connected with all of the things that are important to you, that you have lost yourself along the way. So you want to make sure that you take time to keep that connection, to keep up with your emotional state. There's so many women that when I'm doing this important work that I do, that I found out that it's not them not being feminine. Some women are just depressed and they really have lost, or they really lost their way. They've lost that deep connection with their emotional state that they don't even know that they're depressed. They're showing all the signs of depression and they don't realize that they are depressed. And so that's the reason why it's so important that we really check in and do that, check into our emotional state and check in with our body to kind of see where we are at, because you don't want to walk around shut down and just really depressed, in that depressive state. And now some of you are like, why aren't I able to bring in the things that I want to, to me? Why am I not attracting things to me? Why do I feel like I'm just pushing through mud to get to things or to make things happen? It is because a lot of women are in this depressive state and they have such a disconnection to their bodies and intuition that they are not able to feel and they're not grounded. And so that hurts them overall to be able to make the big decisions in life. So now you're sitting here with big decisions and you're like, what do I do? You're asking everybody what you need to do when the answers are always with you. You were born with them. You don't have to come and really ask me. I'm really of a support. I'm really of a guide in this journey. But when I see that happening, it's a lot of inner work that has to happen so that you can start getting back to that state of being in the connect with self, because you have the answers. The answers are within you. You were born with them. You just have to reconnect. And that's what has to happen. And so that's number 4. The feminine principle is feeling based. It is so important that you be able to, you don't ever lose that ability to connect with your body and check in on your emotional state. Number 5, the feminine principle desires to be vulnerable. It desires to want to be with a worthy masculine principle that's gonna be okay with her revealing herself. She wants to reveal herself to a trustworthy and worthy masculine principle. So a lot of this conversation I see on social media where they're like, oh, you shouldn't have any vulnerability. You should be tough or you should be strong. And there's nothing wrong about being tough and strong when it's not going against that mind and body and emotional state connection that the feminine energy desires, or it doesn't go against the ability to be vulnerable. See, vulnerability isn't what women think it is. A lot of times women think vulnerability is being able to offload and unload on other people. When really vulnerability is a walk and not a race. It's you slowly revealing yourself and getting that connection with a masculine principle and being safe in that relationship where you can do so. So that's highly important to the women who want to animate feminine energy. Vulnerability is absolutely important. We're not trying to be in relationships where we can't reveal ourselves. That's important for the masculine principle to witness us revealing ourselves and being in our beauty and being in our being. That's beautiful to them. So they're drawn to us for it. But when we are shut down and we're disconnected from the emotional state, disconnected from the body, disconnected from our vulnerability, we're so disconnected that we are confused on what next to do. So that is number 5. The feminine principle desires to be vulnerable to and a worthy and trustworthy masculine principle. Number 6, intuition is the truth deeply grounded in our bodies. Don't lose the ability to connect and get the response and the GPS for directions for life that you need. Everyone has intuition. If you haven't connected or you feel like it doesn't exist and you never had those moments where you had that gut response or that epiphany or that light bulb moment, then it's time to reconnect to your body. Because I guarantee you, the alarms have been going off a very long time. The thing is, you're so disconnected that you don't see those alarms going off. You don't feel those alarms going off. You ignore those alarms going off. Intuition, everyone has it. And it's deeply desired in the feminine principle and the feminine energy for the women who animate the feminine energy. We live and die by the intuition. That's the reason why the feminine principles I'm giving you, I already know someone is going to break the rules, but I would rather you understand the rules so that you can break them versus you not understand them and then you break them and then you don't understand the consequences that come with them. That's the reason why I'm giving you some principles, even though, like I said before, women who animate the feminine energy, they're still going to go off for their intuition. They're still going to go off of that gut response that they have, and they're still going to go and make major decisions based off that and not my feminine principles that I'm giving you today. I just want to give you somewhat of a foundation so that you're like, okay, this is really resonating with me. This is what I want for myself. I really want to animate the feminine energy because I desire the masculine principle. So that is number 6. Number 6 is intuition is the truth deeply grounded in your body. So that is the reason why you don't want to lose ability to connect and get that gut response, that GPS, that direction. Everyone has intuition. A lot of my work is guided by intuition. A lot of my work is guided by what God has already placed in my heart and placed in my body. I don't go in and look at a lot of videos and say, well, I'm going to go do this because I see that it's trending. I don't even do trending topics. I do things that really resonate with me, what really pulls me, what really, like, I cannot help, but I cannot resist that need to talk about it, to speak on it. If I have that, then I'm going to do a video about it. And I know that it's coming from God. I know it's coming from my connection and relationship that I have with God. So let's get into number 7. Number 7, the feminine principle desires intimacy, connection, and relationship. Without these things, it's like cutting off parts of yourself. And I think some women think I have to sacrifice those things in order to be able to be provided for. And I'm going to tell you, a pedestal wife never has and never does. A pedestal wife understands that she requires that intimacy, connection, relationship. That means that she wants him not only to provide and open up his wallet, she wants him, she wants all of him. She doesn't want him to sacrifice even a part of himself to be in that relationship. She wants everything he has to have, everything he has to give, and everything that he is within it. So if you are a woman who the feminine energy really resonates with you and you desire to step into the feminine principle, then it's very understandable you're not willing to sacrifice intimacy, connection, relationship just for money. Money is great and I love money. Money is a part of some of my content that I talk about. I desire to have money, I desire to have wealth. It is a part of being the feminine experience, as far as I'm concerned, because the feminine experience brings in abundance. But we don't have to sacrifice having intimacy, connection, relationship with a masculine principle just for money. You can have him open up your wallet and absolutely have him open up his heart. You can have all of the connection and intimacy that you desire in relationship with man. That's number 7. I'm trying to make sure I don't go too fast for the people who are like writing the numbers down for me. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Elena. Thank you for doing that on YouTube. I don't see it here on Instagram, but that's okay. Maybe you're busy and you're listening to me while you're doing other things. But I appreciate you so much for doing that because we definitely need to make sure we have these principles here available. Number 8 is the feminine principle has emotions, but has emotional control. She doesn't have that desire to convince or demand that people change for her. I'm not sure I know that And the way things are set up in this time, in this day and age, in these modern times, is that if you don't get along or agree to get along, agree to do what they're saying that you need to do, sometimes you can be kicked out of the community. And as women, we have this deep need to be a part of a community, be a part of a tribe, and to be accepted. But as the feminine principle, the emotions have to have some type of emotional control. Being able to feel your emotions and process them and work through them is what's desired and needed for the feminine principle. And there's a need for that because when the emotions are out of control, it's hard to utilize your emotions as a way to level up. Let me give you an example of that. Let's say, for instance, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Let's say I'm feeling some type of way about something someone said about me, and it made me feel deep anger. That anger is not for me to go over to that person and just offload and unload anger onto them. That anger is for me to level up and become better. So that's the reason why emotional control is so important to the feminine principle and the experience of animating feminine energy, because then I have the opportunity to take my emotions and I get to level up and become a better woman. I get to level up and learn how to communicate and have that connection, have that relationship. I get to level up and be a woman. So have emotions, but have emotional control. That is so important to the feminine principle and the experience of women who want to animate feminine energy. Because when you don't have that control and you are just offloading your emotions on everyone, you don't get the opportunity to become better. You don't get the opportunity to become a better woman. You don't get the opportunity to improve your skills, to improve your interpersonal skills, your communication skills, the skills that you need to become the woman that you want to become. A lot of times is through your emotions. So that's the reason why it's so important to have that emotional control. People, women who don't have the emotional control, they offload their emotions and they make everybody the blame of their emotions. And that doesn't help them in the long run to become better. It actually helps them to become continue to be stagnant. And it also is a problem when it is time for strategy. Because when a woman is doesn't have any emotional control, she can't stick to strategy. Because as soon as you give her some strategy, she's gonna blow the strategy up because she's feeling angry today, or she's feeling upset, or something didn't go right. And she has to let someone know. She has to offload on someone. And so she can't keep to the strategy or keep to whatever her mission or purpose or vision is for herself. It throws her off every single time. So emotional control is important. That is the feminine principle number 8. Number 9, the feminine principle, her energy is one of comfort, peace, because she is grounded. That is the reason why the masculine principle is highly attracted to the feminine principle, because they get a sense of comfort and peace. This is a space where they can be themselves and they don't have to worry about being judged, because they go out into the world and they will be judged. They will be told that they're wrong. They will be told that they're not right. They will be told these things. And yes, it may be the right thing to be told at that time, but just think of being in that space where you can just be and you don't have to pretend, you don't have to put a mask on, you can just be yourself, and all you feel is acceptance coming from that person. That is worth, I don't know, that's worth more than money. That's worth more than gold. That's more worth anything a lot of people can even think about, because most of us, we go our entire lives never feeling accepted, never feeling seen. So the feminine principle number 9, her energy is one of comfort, peace, because she is grounded. And she's grounded in herself. She's grounded in her center and in her being. Number 10, the feminine principle has the ability to surrender to the unknown. Uh, Surrendering to the unknown it's a way of becoming more wise. The more that I have surrendered to the unknown and not really knowing what's going to happen at the end of that journey, or not knowing how it's going to play out, the more wise I have become. So when you learn the art of surrender, and surrendering is important to the women who want to animate feminine energy, because this is how you're going to become more wise. Every time you go and take a path not walked, or a path not known, or a do something that most people aren't doing. You will become more wise on that journey. And it will give you the ability, having wisdom as a woman who animates feminine energy is so important. It's so much needed. Having that ability to be able to check in and really connect with others, and have the wisdom, which gives you the experience to be able to help others, and for other people to be able to lean into you. So number 10 is a feminine principle of the ability to surrender to the unknown. And so many of us, we don't want to surrender. We want to control everything. We want to know the ending. We want to know all the ins and outs. The thing is, the more that you know, the more ins and outs that you know, the more that you're not willing to take that risk and get that wisdom, the less that you're going to get that experience, which actually helps you get the wisdom to be able to lean into your own understanding and to be able to assist other people. So the more that you sit in here and you're like, oh, I gotta control him, I gotta know everything, I gotta have my hands on him, I gotta be able to tell him what to do. And unfortunately, the feminine energy conversations have actually encouraged more control conversations versus actually being able to surrender. And see, the thing is, the more that you decide you don't want to surrender, you don't want to let go, you want to know what the ending is, what the beginning is, and what the middle is. This is how you sacrifice your wisdom, because when you sacrifice your wisdom, you sacrifice your experience. And a lot of people always ask me, how do you have such experience? How are you able to teach? And I read just like other people, but there's some things that you're going to get that you can't read. It's not in a book. It's all in experience. It's all taking the path unknown. It's always being able to let go and release control and surrendering, so that I can just take that journey and see what happens. But this is a hard one, but it can be done. Once you continue to, if you decide I want to animate the feminine energy, then you're going to have to really truly learn how to surrender, how to let go of control, how to let go of wanting to know the answer in order to see that it is safe. Because that's what it is. A lot of us are trying to figure out what is the answer, because you want to make sure it's safe. But we're going to get into that more. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and the Instagram. If you want to continue this conversation, the link is in the stories. And I will see you on Instagram on the next one. You all have a good one. Bye. And thank you, ladies, for the ones who said I look great. Thank you. I wasn't ignoring you. I just want to get this out because I have a lot to talk about. And I didn't want to waste any time. Okay. But I saw you and I thank you and I appreciate you. All right. So let's get back in. We're on number 10. So the 10 is the ability to surrender to the unknown. All right. Number 11. See, this right here, number 11 kind of stuck to me. I think it comes from my dark feminine energy video where someone talked about flaws. I don't remember who said it, but they said it as a way that flaws were a bad thing. And for some reason, I cannot continue on without actually addressing that. So number 11, the feminine principle is befriend your flaws, your imperfections, and release the need for perfection. I think that goes right along with number 10 when we talked about surrendering, because when you constantly think that your imperfection, your flaws, something is wrong with you, it is hard to be grounded in your being. It's hard to really trust yourself if you think there's something wrong with you. You don't have flaws. How about if we stop looking at it as flaws and start looking at it as opportunities? This is an opportunity for me to become better. This is an opportunity to invest in myself. This is an opportunity to be great. This is an opportunity to take my power back. I want us to start looking at our imperfection, our flaws, and I want you to release the need to be perfect, because perfection does not exist. There is no one that is perfect. Even when I was doing my hair today, because you all love like pouring on the compliments about my hair, and I love it, and I thank you, and I appreciate it, of course. But I was looking at it, there's like one little piece of hair sticking up. And I was like, it'll be all right. Because imperfections are what make me unique. I don't want to take what has created me becoming me. And a lot of you all look at your imperfection, your flaws, and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I was like her. I wish I could do what she's doing. I wish I was how she is. I need you to befriend your flaws and your imperfections and start, instead of looking at them as other imperfections, I want you to look at them as though they're opportunities. There are opportunities for you to become better, for you to improve, for you to do the things that you want to do. There are opportunities for you to become more wise and to have more experience. They're not flaws. They're not imperfections. They're unique. That is what made you you. That is what made you the woman that you are. And if you take away all of the flaws and imperfection that you have, you would be nobody. You wouldn't be who you are today as the woman that you are. So stop harping on your imperfections and flaws and stop looking at it as though it's a bad thing. And even when I wanted, to me, this is a part of correcting what I did not correct in that conversation. And that was on my video, The Dark Feminine. And I should have, because it really, really kept pulling at me. Why didn't you call her out? Why didn't you call her out and tell her that your flaws are not imperfect? It's what makes you unique. It's what makes you the woman that stands before you. It's what makes you be able to stand and ground in the years that you've been on earth. Like those are a testament to your womanhood. So stop looking at them as though they're a bad thing. They're a great thing. Just like me, if I want to decide my hair doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be perfect. Because what is me is me. You can't change who I am. Everything is me is internal, is inherent. So it doesn't have to, I don't have to go in here and go in correct mode to try to figure out what makes me perfect or how to become perfect, because you'll never be that. And you shouldn't desire it. And I'm not ever pushing it on this page. I'm never pushing perfection. I think a little bit of imperfection is actually what makes you more attractive. Number 12 is dating and marrying, the masculine principle that cherish us, encourage the feminine expression. Never let her forget that she's safe to be and witnessing the beauty of the feminine principle. So that is why it's so important that if you're going to animate the feminine principle, that you kind of keep to dating and mating the masculine principle. The more that you date your polarity, the opposite of the energy that you have, excuse me, the same energy. If you try to date the same energy, you're setting yourself up for getting the same things that you bring to a relationship. So it's so important that you date and mate and marry the masculine principle. The masculine principle that will cherish us, the masculine principle that loves the expression and beauty that is the feminine, and that gives us a safe place to be. The masculine principle loves to encourage, support, and give the feminine principle a place to be so that they can thrive and flourish. So you want to make sure that you don't break that rule of polarity. You don't want to get into the same energy. So you don't want to get in a relationship where that person is animating feminine energy just like you are. This is going to lead to you not getting what you need out of it. It's going to lead to you absolutely stepping into the more masculine principle, because this is the law of polarity. If it is feminine, then there must be masculine. And so you want to have that juicy polarity, that attraction. You want to have that masculine and feminine polarity. So you want to make sure in principle 12 that you date, mate, and marry the masculine principle, the principle that is going to cherish you and encourage your feminine expression. You don't want to get with someone who is going to look at you animating that feminine energy as a bad thing. Are you going to come across men like that? Possibly. You possibly will come across a man who is not wanting a woman who animates feminine energy. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not our job to try to change his mind or to make him feel bad about his choice, or to, make him or suggest something else to him. It is our job just to be and be grounded in it and to be grounded in our being. So that is the feminine principle 12, and that is to date and mate and marry the masculine principle that's going to encourage you and cherish you, and encourage the feminine expression, because they desire it, they're attracted to it, and they want more of it. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and pause here. Those are all 12 principles. So now you know the principles for yourself, and knowing the principles for yourself, um, and knowing what the consequences may be if you do not want to animate that feminine energy or uphold those feminine principles. Because I already know, as feminine energy, we tend to be more intuitive and be based in feelings and emotions. And so we tend to do something the opposite of that because of the feelings and emotions. And that is the reason why it's so important that maybe these principles will give you some type of a foundation, something to kind of lean into. So you'll have something to understand as far as, oh, if I decide I don't want this, there's a consequence I may have to deal with. And then you prepare for the consequence versus breaking the rules. And then the consequence hits you sideways and you're like baffled that there's a consequence. Now you know there will be one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up chat for any comments or anything, any questions that you have. Oh, Daisy, I didn't even see it. Thanks again for your pep talk yesterday. I really need it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Y'all got to thank Elena because she's out here killing it. She definitely got all 12 principles in the chat for you all. So if you miss any of them, you can go in and just read the chat. Hey, girl, it's Kenya. What's in your inner circle? I'm so glad I'm finally able to see you live. Hopefully, I can join the inner circle again. Yes, we welcome you back. Absolutely. You can just shoot me an email and we'll definitely welcome you back. But it's so important that you understand the feminine principles, especially women who want to animate that feminine energy. Because the more that you break those rules, and as a feminine energy woman, we know that we're going to break them. You just need to understand the consequences. You can't bend rules if you don't understand the consequences that come with breaking them. And so, yes, when it comes to beg, and I specifically use beg for a reason, because it's okay to want these things. It's okay to want time. It's okay to want attention. It's okay to want sex. But there's ways that we need to go about wanting those things and achieving those things. Now, let's go over, let's go back a little bit and go about what happens when we break those feminine principles for women who animate and desire to animate the feminine energy. So let's say you break that begging rule and you're going to feel all icky and upset with yourself because you broke that rule. But let's say you do want attention. You want attention from him. And in order to get attention from him, you have to learn how to give yourself attention. Remember, the feminine energy is the mind and body connection. It is grounded in ourself and our being. And since it's grounded in ourself, in order for you to get attention or want attention from him, then you have to learn to give attention to yourself. This means you will spend more time going out with your friends and your family. You will spend more time learning new things or getting involved in new hobbies because you want attention, but you know better than to beg for it because you know if you beg for it, you're not going to feel good about it. And it's going to hurt you and harm you overall. Begging something from the masculine principle that should be given to you very easily. And so let's say you want time. Let's say he's been very busy. He's been working hard. He's running his business. He's doing everything he needs to do. Hours equals dollars for men. So he's kind of ignoring you and he isn't giving you a lot of time. So in order to do that, you already know, okay, well, I'm going to have to do more for myself. This is along the lines of the same thing you do for attention. If you want more time for him, you're going to spend more time giving more time to yourself. You're going to spend more time giving yourself more attention. This may be during the time when you may up level and level up your wardrobe, or you may up level or level up your hairdo. You may up level or meet new friends. You may actually start new hobbies. You may have new experiences. This is during the time you're going to be doing this, and you're going to find the more that you do and give yourself, he's going to see and feel that energy that you're giving yourself, and he's going to want some of that for himself. He's going to want some of that expression that you're giving to other people for himself. So he's going to turn back to you and be like, look, she's over here going out with her friends and she's doing a new hobby. Yesterday, she said she's going to learn how to swim. She's doing all of these things and she's looking more beautiful. She's lit up. She's resonating. I want more of that. So let me go and carve some time for her. Let me spend more time with her. Maybe next week, I can go ahead and we can spend more time together. That will happen naturally. Men will want to give more back to you because they see that you're pouring into yourself, that you're investing in yourself. And women don't understand the more that you invest in yourself and you pour into yourself, the more you look more attractive, the more you just light up. There's an expression I love to use all the time. You want your light to shine so bright that other people want to know what you're doing. And he's going to pay attention to you and want to know what you're doing. He's going to be like, oh, what's going on here? Her skin is shining. She looks gorgeous. She's going out with a smile on her face. She's so happy. He's going to want to feel that from you. And he's definitely men are very territorial. So he's going to want to make sure that that is not being received anywhere else. So he's going to want to get more time with you. It's not about making him jealous. So I don't want you to be focusing on him. In order for any of this to work, a lot of you all have to let go of watching him. Stop watching him to see if he has a response, or stop watching him to see if he's changed. The more you watch him, he's being pinged. He can feel that you're watching him. This is something that's happening energetically. Remember that we are still human beings having a spiritual existence. So he can feel that all eyes on him. So you're not having the effect that you're supposed to have because you're watching him. He can feel that you're watching him. He notices that you're paying attention to everything that he does. He can sense that all eyes on him. So it's not giving the effect that you think it should get. Do not beg for sex. And the reason we don't do that is because women do not like rejection. But since men are very sensitive to women, we really have an advantage when it comes to this. Since they're sensitive, we can literally pull out our best lingerie. We can better pull out all stops and make sure that we're more exaggerated in our body when he's looking at us. We can really do things to create that sexual attention and emotional attraction. One of the things that me and the hubby love to do, I call it giving each other an energetic wink where we're flirting, where we banter and we tease, and we do it in a way where it just keeps us going and keeps us kind of connected. And a lot of people are like when they get around us and we're doing that, they're like, what's going on here? Like people can kind of feel the energy that we're giving each other, like the flirting that we're doing. And it's not like overly sexual or having an overly sexual conversation. It's just really the banter and the flirt and the me just giving him a little sass back, and he's just, like, okay, okay, that's what we're doing. And he loves it. Like, so you have to learn how to banter and flirt. You have to learn how to create that tension and emotional attraction that men love. Men love that little push and pull that we have. And so if you're wanting more sex, increase that. Increase that versus actually begging him, please sleep with me, please do this, please just stop doing that. The more that you do that, the more that you reduce yourself. Uh, your wisdom has helped me so much. I feel so much more my feminine energy learning from you. Thank you so much, Bethany. I appreciate that. Sometimes it's so good to hear that this is really resonating with the community. Because one of the things, and this is something I really want to go into conversation with when I start talking about the Co-Creator Mastermind, I want to teach you all the secret to wealth. Because there's a secret to wealth. There's certain things that we can do to bring more abundance in our lives. Um, and if you haven't completely enrolled, go in and enroll. The link is in the chat. The code is in the chat. The code is reinvent, and you get 29% off. Remember that code will not be active after the 19th because I will not accept an enrollment after that because our first live session is the 20th. But you want to, uh, you definitely want, there's certain secrets that I have that I definitely want to give over to the women that's so important when it comes to creating feminine energy and abundance. So I appreciate every time you all let me know that this is resonating and that it's hitting home. How do I really trust my intuition, especially when it just doesn't have like a person or energy? Do I ignore, avoid, or be cordial? I'm going to tell you what I would do is start spending time by yourself without any interruptions, no television, no phone, and really connect. And really connect. It may take you a while before you can really connect with yourself and uh, meditation. I love walking visualizations. Visualizations actually really help me connect. It really helped me also to bring things in my reality. The more walking visualizations that I do, the more that I have found that I've been able to connect and bring those things in my imagination into my reality. So if I were you and I was trying to reconnect my intuition, this means you have to unbury all of that, uh, the emotions and disappointment and confusion that you have, and you have to kind of dig deep. And that starts with spending time by yourself. In the membership, in the very beginning of my membership, there's meditations in the very beginning to help women connect. because that is highly important. Intuition is that gut response. It's like a GPS in life. Like, do you want to have a sense of where should I go? What should I do? Then you need your intuition. Intuition is highly valued with the women who want to animate feminine energy. And so, if I were you, I would begin to kind of connect. I would begin to kind of have moments, even if you have to break it up in like maybe like a minute or maybe 30 seconds in the very beginning. Like, shut down all of the noise that's going on, like your television, even when it comes to what you're thinking. Just like start out, visualize, have something and visualize and just keep visualizing and just like be quiet. Try to quiet your thoughts as much as you possibly can and just kind of really connect. And if in the very beginning you can ask yourself, like, how am I feeling? And really connect until it comes up, until it starts to show up how you're feeling, and let it be the answer versus you giving it the answer. If you're getting the answer from up here, that is not your intuition, that is your mind. A lot of people have made decisions based off of their minds, calling it intuition. That's not intuition. Your intuition is like a gut response. You really feel in your gut. You really feel, or it can feel. It can. So if you're certain, if you've been doing this for a long time, it also can feel like it can feel like there's someone guiding you in a certain or specific direction. Like, so if you decide to go this way, you have a strong urge to go left instead of right. So you want to kind of dig into inner work to connect with intuition. I know this may not be on topic exactly, but can you touch on sexual energy? There's a lot going around about not using self pleasure because it wastes our energy. What are your thoughts? Self pleasure doesn't interfere with sexual energy. It doesn't waste it. It's ours. It's our internal. It inherits to us our sexual energy. It's interesting that you asked that question because I actually have content that I've been like really ruminating on if I actually want to do that content on social media, or if I want to do it in like a in membership. But I am going to talk more about sexual energy and how to utilize that. But I wouldn't say that it wastes the energy. I wouldn't say it wastes energy. It's our energy. We can utilize it in the way that we see fit or the way that our intuition is guiding us to use it. And yes, that's how I know that we're, as far as a community, we are really connected because legit was thinking I need to do some content on sexual energy. And I was thinking, okay, how do I want to go about doing it? Because I want to bring the parts that are not sexual to social media. And then I also want to bring the parts that are to like a membership, to the women who are a part of the membership. So I'm gonna figure out what parts do I want to address on social media and what parts do I want to keep the membership. But girl, you're reading my mind. We're on the same vibration and alignment because I was just thinking about it yesterday. I legit saw a video myself and I'm like, that is very confusing. I wonder if other people from my community saw the same video and they're confused about it, not understanding that the sexual energy is our life force. It's what helps animate that feminine energy. It's what helps bring in that abundance. It's what helps bring in the things that you can imagine to your reality. And it would be a lot more helpful if women understand how to utilize and use that sexual energy. I really would love your input on the sexual energy because I mostly hear it from men doing team and retention, but I don't hear a lot of women talking on it in a way that makes sense to me. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a request, but it definitely was already in the pipeline. It was already in my vibration and what I was thinking about. Basically, when I was seeing the information that women put out about it is very confusing. That's what I will say. I would say that women put out information when it comes to sexual energy, they put it out in the way it's very confusing. Thank you. I don't trust it still because it's saying it doesn't like a person energy, and I get confused as what to do. My mind is telling me to stay, and my intuition is saying stay away and run. I would go with my intuition. Your intuition is always going to be right. Your intuition is highly guided and regarded. Your intuition has that connection. If you don't believe in God, maybe you believe in like a higher being or higher intelligence or higher a higher wavelength or higher vibration, but your intuition comes from a different place. And I will trust my intuition before I trust my mind. And that's the reason why I say our minds can hold the feminine principle, but our intuition is going to probably do other things based on what's guiding us. And so that's the reason I said giving women who animate feminine energy, feminine principles, is almost like giving them the opportunity to do the opposite, because they're going to do what is their intuition is leading them to do. They're going to do what they feel is best for them. And I don't blame them, because that's what it truly means to be in your feminine and be grounded within it. I'm just saying there's ways to keep to the feminine principles without sacrificing ourselves or having to deal with the consequences when we decide not to, you know, uphold the feminine principles within ourselves. I love being on the same wavelength. I love that too. Because as soon as I'm like, oh, I want to do some piece of content, you all will bring it up. You all will bring it up. And I legit, a couple of days ago, I was thinking about sexual energy. And I was thinking about how you use that energy you use it in a multitude of ways. That is the energy that we will use to be able to make our imagination reality. So that is the reason why you want to be able to really connect with self. Because if you can't connect with self, you can't connect with sexual energy. Because the sexual energy is a part of our being. It's a part of the woman who animates feminine energy in the first place. It also means that without sexual energy, it's very hard for you to really connect with yourself sexually. So you may be the girl who has a very hard time getting to the end when you're with the masculine principle in a sexual way. And so this conversation does require more context and a deeper conversation. But since you brought it up, I feel like it's important for women to understand that you may be having what you consider to be sexual dysfunction. Because when I tell women, like, you are sex, you literally vibrate, you exude, you are sex, but they don't understand what that means. But that means you have to have a deeper conversation on sexual energy to understand what it means. And I don't want to bring something to YouTube where you're going to get it flagged, it's going to get taken down. But we're going to have to go there in membership. And we can go at least enough for understanding for sexual energy on YouTube. But when we go into deeper details of how to kind of utilize that to bring things into your reality and how to utilize your connection with God and your higher intelligence and higher being in order to bring things from your imagination to reality. This is the reason why I said that God has never left any prayer void for me. And you'll get that. We'll go into the more detail in the Co-Creator Mastermind. So if you really want that type of conversation, get into the mastermind. I guarantee you will not regret it. There's already content in there, and we will have live sessions planned where it won't be on YouTube, so I won't feel like I gotta watch my words, because I feel like I have to watch my words a little bit. Because so many people are offended these days too. Like so many people get offended easily, and I don't want to say something that's gonna get this video taken down when it's nothing about feminine principles. From my understanding, sexual energy is creative energy and can be used for more useful and higher purposes. Yes, Laura, absolutely. Absolutely. But so many women have a deep disconnection from self and their being, that there is no talk of creative energy or sexual energy. Like, you can't connect with something if you can't connect with self. That's the reason why I preach so much about the connection with self and how feminine energy is about yourself. And it's about being grounded in your being. It is more about being grounded in your being than it is about being with a man. But I understand why these two conversations are happening at the same time. Okay, I understand why feminine energy has been connected to being with a man or getting a man or attracting a man. Because when you're in that feminine energy and grounded in it, you're highly magnetized to bring in the masculine principle. And a lot of women are more interested at that stage versus in being grounded in self. The more grounded in self, the more creative you become. The more creative you become, the more wealthy you become, the more abundant you become. I know I said a mouthful, but like I said, that's more of the co-creator mastermind conversation. But yeah, I will do a video addressing sexual energy. But of course, I'll take it deeper and further in the co-creator mastermind because this is going to help you become more creative, uh, become more connected, and stop dreaming. Like I love a good dream. I love to dream about what I want to dream about having my desires. I love being able to dream about them, but I want to be able to touch them on this plane and in this reality. I don't want to just dream about living in a nice house. I don't want to just dream about driving a nice car. I don't want to just dream about having 7 figures in my bank account. I don't want to just dream about having the love of my life and my soulmate in my life. I want to have it in this reality. And if you're like me and you want to have it in this reality and you refuse to live a life that is void of having your desires and your imagination be real, then you need to go in and join the co-creator mastermind. That is going to be for you. This is the reason why I say every single time that God has never left any of my prayers void. None of my prayers have ever come back void. They may have taken time because there were certain things that I needed to do. And a lot of times when that happened, I'm like, God, I'm a willing, open vessel. Guide me to where I need to go or what I need to do. Because I know that desire that you put in my heart is for me. So I need your guidance in order to take the next step, to take the inspired actions. And any time I've said that, I guarantee you, maybe a couple of days, maybe a couple of hours, then I will get the answer or the inspired actions that I need to take because there's something that I was missing. Maybe I wasn't ready for that thing. Maybe I had prepared for that thing. Maybe I hadn't connected with the right people to have that thing. And that is the reason why I feel like this mastermind is going to be so powerful. It's going to be so powerful. It's the only mastermind I've ever done. This is not a course, this is a mastermind. So it's going to be so interactive, which all of my courses are interactive anyway. Like anyone who's taking a course with me, you already know it's very interactive. You always get to speak your piece. You always get to ask your questions and you get to have conversation with me. It's not just you listening to me talk and go on and on and on. We do interactive activities and exercises together. But the mastermind is going to be so much beyond that. So I'm so excited about it. I'm happy about it. I can't wait till the 20th. Like, if anything is one of my, I love talking about feminine energy. I love talking about provider, masculine principle men, of course, but I love talking about creative energy. I love talking about connecting with self and becoming more creative. And that's the reason why the feminine principles are so important too, because it helps you to create and ground with self. The more grounded and creative you are, the more connected you are, the more that you get that guidance and intuition that's needed. Your intuition is never wrong. It's coming from a higher place, a higher plane. It's coming from, for me, I know my intuition is coming from God because I have that relationship. Definitely sign up for the masterclass. I love your content. Brielle, could you please touch more on using our emotions to level up, especially when it comes to negative emotions? Absolutely, Laura. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But when it comes to your emotions, like, and that's the reason why I truly do believe your emotions have something to tell you. Your emotions have something to teach you. A lot of times, anger, like the example I gave before when I said, well, maybe someone said something to me and I got really angry about it. Anger isn't the issue. Anger is literally a secondhand emotion, which means there's something going on behind the anger. Maybe in that moment, I was really jealous of something that was going on, or jealous that she said something, or, it made me upset. So when I take the time to kind of dig into that emotion and figure out what's really going on behind, it adds to my level up. I become a better person because now I know that, hey, like maybe I shouldn't be jealous of what she's saying because everyone has the right to their opinions. Everyone has the right to believe what they want to believe. It is not my job, and I'm not I'm not the hero of trying to make sure that everyone believes in the way that I believe. So this helps me level up. It gives me another piece of the puzzle of what I should be doing. Maybe I need to work on pouring more into myself, investing in myself, and being more focused in on myself. So I'm not focusing on what someone else has going on over there. Maybe I need to do more of that. So your emotions kind of give you a way to level up and become better. And it's not just for you to go off and handle. It's not just for you to go off on other people or to make other people feel bad or to make people feel like they're doing the wrong thing. It's a way for you to level up and to kind of tap in to see what's your next thing. Maybe your next thing is you focusing in because why are you jealous over this other person's thing or what they have going on or who they are or how they carry themselves? Why aren't you pouring more into yourself so that you become better? So your emotions are a window to your level up. Regardless if it's negative or positive, like even if it was a positive emotion that I feel good for her. Usually when I see other people, other women, like when I see other, okay, I legit had this happening today. Well, I've been having it happen for the last 2 days. Right now, okay, first of all, I don't know if I had this conversation or not, but this is going to help you. Hopefully, it will help, Laura. You all know how I'm very long winded in getting things explained. But the last 2 days, I legit have figured out, like, I've never been a person who's like, oh, I want this specific car. I'm not a car girl. Most of the time, I don't even like concern myself about what kind of car. Now, this year at the end of 2023, I kind of have made a decision on what I really want, and I really labeled a car as my dream car. Now I have been seeing that dream car every other day. I've been seeing it. The more that I continue to see it, the more that I know that I'm going to receive it. I know that it's coming into my reality. The more every time I pass that a person driving that car around, I don't get jealous or upset or angry that they're driving my dream car. I legit get happy. I legit get giddy. I get happy and giddy. I start doing my little happy dance because I already know that it's not too far from coming to my reality. Because usually those are very good indicators or signs that the prayer, the things that I've decided on, the things that I want, the things that I desire is coming closer and closer to my reality. So I legit get happy. Even when I see my friends doing things, and they're like, I have friends on all apps that have surpassed me on social media. They probably circled me 3 times. But basically like comparison in numbers, right? Getting happy for them every time they hit that milestone because I know that my time is coming. But what if I was having an opposite effect? And what if I was looking at as though, oh my gosh, or being jealous or angry or upset that they're hitting these milestones and I'm not? And we started at the same time. We legit started our social media at the same time, but they're circling me with numbers and views and clicks and likes. Instead, I'm looking at it as though, oh my gosh, my time is coming. Legit, every time I see one of my friends have a milestone or they hit another number and they are celebrating, I celebrate with them because I already know that everything I desire is coming closer into my reality. And so that's the reason why I check into my emotional state, because my emotional state and my emotions help me level up and help me become better. And did it take time for me to legit be able to get to this level? Yes, it took inner work. It took me inner work to look at not the negative emotions I had, instead of getting drowning with them and feeling them and helping them affect how I feel and how I look at the world. It took inner work for me to start flipping that and realizing that those are actually signs. Those are legit signs that things are coming into your reality. The things that you're praying about, the things that you're desiring, God is sending you. He's letting you see signs. It's coming. It's going to be here. So now all you need to do is get ready and thanks and gratitude and thankfulness. So hopefully I answered that question. I know I went all over the way, but I legit want you to see that regardless if negative or positive, all of your emotions are ways to your level up. If you're starting to just experience negative emotions about what other people are doing, then I need you to kind of put your eyes on yourself. I want you to start looking at yourself and start looking at the things that you have going great for you. I want you to start being in gratitude, and I want you to start flipping the script. Even the negative ones, even like I said, even negative emotions are good because this gives you the opportunity to kind of dig deep to see where it's coming from. So you can examine where it's coming from. It keeps you self-aware of that emotional state and what can affect that emotional state. Because if you're always drowning in a negative emotions, this will affect your emotional state. You may not feel as good. You may feel more sluggish. You may feel more angry. You may feel more upset. You may feel more depressed. So hopefully I answered that question. I know that was all around the way, but I felt like that's the best way to answer it. And it took inner work. It took meditating, doing the inner work. Y'all know my preferred way of inner work is like journal prompts. So I just want to make sure that we got plenty of time. But I wanted, I know we've been everywhere, right? We've been everywhere but the feminine principles. But I wanted you to have those 12 feminine principles so you can have somewhat of a foundation so that you will understand the consequences to breaking them and why we have these feminine principles for women who want to animate feminine energy, and why it is important. Like I said, even though I do expect feminine energy women to kind of go off on their intuition, like to do things that feel good to them and that really resonates, because you're right, I'm wrong. When it comes to your intuition, you're right, I'm wrong. Remember that. Don't let anyone talk you out of it, because the more that you more that you allow other people to talk you out of your intuition, the more disconnect you will feel, because it's more like you don't trust yourself. That's what it is. That's what it gives. When you ignore your intuition, it gives you don't trust yourself. And the more that you do that, the harder it is to connect and hear. But the more it is to connect and feel, and that resonation, that gut response is needed for intuition. It may be happening, but you may not feel it because you disconnected for so long. It's being ignored for so long. So now it's like, you know how if you're in a room, our hearing has this a special ability to kind of tune things out and focus in on one thing. That's how your intuition is. You have ignored it so long, so now it's like it's going on in the background, but you don't hear it. You are not aware of it. That's the reason why it's time to connect. All right. So if we don't have any other questions or comments about the feminine principle, or if you have a question about the Co-Creator Mastermind, I would love to answer them or have that conversation. So if you don't have anything else, I know there's kind of like a lag between you and me, but I'm so excited. I haven't had a meeting with members in almost, I don't know, 2 months maybe. So I'm so excited to get back into the rhythm of doing workshops with the members and then this mastermind. I'm ready. I'm ready. I have so much to say when it comes to that. So we have our co-creating mastermind coming up. We have our first live session on January 20th. We're going to have a workshop in February, and that's going to be all about checking your feminine brand, seeing if we can tweak anything for your feminine brand. Legit, you coming to me and we have a conversation about what's going wrong, what's going right. Critiquing your bio so that you can do some online dating and what to look for while you're dating online. And we're gonna do some kind of role playing between you and the masculine principle and, well, men overall, like what you need to be saying. And so we're gonna have that coming up in February. I don't have a date for that yet, but I'm gonna be looking to see what date really feels good, what date is gonna be the best for us, so that we can meet in February for members if you're part of the inner circle. So don't worry, I have not forgotten about you. I never will forget about you. You have supported me since the very beginning. So I appreciate you for being a part of my inner circle if you're part of that inner circle. But yeah, we have a video coming up tomorrow. We're going to be talking about taking back your power. Everything that 2023 stole from you, we're going to get you back on track so that you can take it back in 2024. And we're going to address so many things in that video. I don't want to spoil it today, but you want to make sure you cut on your notifications. Make sure that you like this video also so that we can let the algorithm know that we're here. So I don't see any other questions. Hopefully, Laura, I answered your question. I don't see anything back from you. So I'm going to give you a moment to respond, or if I answered it. But don't worry, if you're going to be a part of the Co-Creator Mastermind, you have so much more time with me so that we can kind of break that down and into more steps, more actual steps that's going to help you to be able to do that. So I don't have anything else, and hopefully that hopefully this helps you as far as understanding the feminine principle, so that you can break them. Because like I said before, I already know what's going to happen with women who animate feminine energy. You're going to go with your intuition, you're going to go with your feelings, and you're going to go what feels good to you. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with that. I just say there's ways to go about it. You did that. Thank you. Emotions are messages to self. They are a roadmap. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I love the way you put that, Laura. Like, thank you. Emotions are messages to self. Absolutely. They're messages. All right, so I don't see any other comments or any other questions in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. I appreciate you ladies for your support. Thank you for being here all the way to the end, especially a whole entire hour live stream. And hopefully I'll see you back here tomorrow. We're going to see here at the same time, same place. You all have a great one.